Get ready for an insightful episode of Growth Leaders by Shot. Today's guest, Heidi, is a powerhouse in HR. With over 10 years of experience leading cultural shifts and fostering leadership development in the Trek Cycling Company and now in AprilAire, manufacturing goods to make healthy air. Her story is one of perseverance, innovation, and leadership excellence. Tune in as we uncover the strategies that have made her a standout leader. I'm Peter, your host for today's conversation. Welcome, Heidi. So, Heidi, I'm going to jump straight into it because you're a leader in HR. And how would you describe your leadership style? I mean, I guess it has evolved, but right now you're at AprilAire. So, has it evolved significantly over the career?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I look back and when I first started in the HR, a lot of times we talk about who are you working for? And they talk about working for the employees, are you working for the company? And the truth is both. You really need to work for
Course.
both. And you're there for the employees and you're protecting the company as well. And I think in terms of leadership, it's been one of those where I found really great mentors along the way. I've been super lucky and just watching how flexible they've been. They've grown up, they've
Hmm.
had children, and now I have children, and watching how they are able to lead a team, be flexible with how you lead that team, be understanding, empathetic, be a positive influence. Those are all things that I've taken with me and really have decided to kind of put forward when I'm a leader too. So it's
Yeah.
been really
And,
great to have mentors.
and who has been your mentors? From where do they come?
Yeah. I would say early on, I got really lucky with my first mentor out of Dublin Company. It's a company in Illinois. It's a manufacturing company. And she really took me under under her wing. So I've been really lucky to find women that have been in HR and have raised families and worked full time and just shown me what we can do.
You feel it's important for I mean, your guys and girls out in the company right now to make sure there are mentors for those who want to have it.
100%. It might even start from where you first worked as a child. And I worked at 14. I worked at a elderly home, and it was my best
Hmm.
friend's mom, and she owned the entire facility. And to see somebody who was super successful, and working for somebody like that who brought fun to the workplace and also was super successful, it really inspires you. And so I think it's important to, no matter where you are, you find a mentor or somebody that you really trust that
Yeah.
you want to take leadership advice from.
And the thing here, what you're saying here also is important. It does not have to be someone coming to you, but it's actually you coming to someone saying, I mean, is it okay if I can have a chat and talk with you, and then that could develop over time to actually become a mentor? You know, you can call him or her in the evenings as I have this pretty difficult thing to do.
Yes.
How would you think about this and so on?
Yeah, the best leaders are those that are willing to do that. They really are.
Yeah.
I can think of a lot of people outside of HR that I've gotten to work with. I could call them up. I am lucky I'm exposed to a little bit more departments being in HR, so I get to meet a lot of
Yeah.
people. But I definitely reach out and network and find somebody that's really inspirational. And I've been pretty lucky. No, the good ones don't turn you down. They want to help.
No, they always do.
Yeah.
But that's an important message for anyone listening in here and want to have a mentor. Take the chance and do it yourself to ask for it. So, is there any milestones you can see in your own career so far? I mean, there will be many more to come, but
Yeah.
both maybe in the Trek side and AprilAire and maybe others.
I think
What
my,
are those if you look back?
yeah, I think my very first biggest growth spurt or in within HR was when I was at Trek. I thought I do not want to be a manager. I don't want to be a leader. It seems like a lot of work and a lot of pressure, and I don't have the experience. I don't know what I'm doing. And I sat down with, somebody who I really admired and respected. And he even said, he's like, why not? I don't understand why you wouldn't take that chance. You're great to work with. You're positive. You have a lot of things that you want to add to the table. You should raise your hand and take the chance. Do something that's hard, that's different. And it probably took me 1 hour to just sit there and think, you know what, I can do this. So I immediately went to my boss that afternoon and I just said, I've changed my mind. I want to become a manager. I want to lead people. I want to lead a team. You tell me how I can get there and I want to do it. And that really was it for me. And I think it's really important too, when people are struggling to say, I don't think I can quite do that, to just march in with that confidence and say, I can do this.
Oh, that's interesting. So that is one clear milestone which you can look back at. And after that, have you seen, or those are steps you have taken yourself? Or
Yeah.
is there any
So,
other?
I think you just started building your team that way and saying, learning things along the way. And I continued to be a leader. And then, of course, becoming a senior manager and becoming a director was huge for me. So all those steps kind of fell into place once you took that first leap, but really just putting yourself out there. And then those little milestones along the way just came with little changes. That's it. And I just think it's taking that first big leap.
Yeah. And then you have in difference from, I've had a lot of interviews previously with in the tech industry.
Sure.
But you're in the manufacturing industry and you've been
Yeah.
there quite a while, which means that you have what we call white collars and blue collar. I mean, people working on the floor and people working in the admins and other roles like that. So how do you see the balance driving the company forward, company goals, ensuring that you minimize conflicts? Because clearly there must be conflicts coming up, especially when you need to promote people or do changes. You may have been in downturns, etc.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the balance driving that in a manufacturing organization, how do you see that, and how have you tackled it?
Yeah. I would say my very first company was Dublin Company, and it was a manufacturing company in Illinois. And watching the leader, the owner of that organization, walking the floor every day, saying hi to everybody on the floor, making sure they felt just as part of the team. They were the backbone. So watching them do that, and then I also would do the same thing, right? Where I'd walk in and you'd walk the floor to make sure there wasn't a disconnect. Because what they're working on versus what you're working on, they're very different things. But we wouldn't be where we were without anybody in that blue collar or manufacturing area.
Mm.
And then the same thing at the next company I worked at. We did a lot of, every time I've worked for a place, it's been that connection of making sure we're walking and talking with manufacturing employees, that we're listening, we're giving them just as much time. I think that's been a game changer for wherever I've been.
Mm. So if we look at it could be changes on the floor. I mean that happens
Sure.
on and off. One leadership trait is empathy. Um, how do you see that working when you have difficult situations and working with empathy as such? Do you use it yourself, and how do you see other leaders using it or not using it?
Yeah, I guess I'm sure it's gone both ways. And one
Yeah.
of the things I would say is, especially being, for example, in a manufacturing company I was at, a woman had twins and she had to breastfeed, right? And during those time, you have very limited time when you're on the line. You don't get a ton of breaks. We are able to accommodate something like that, and being able to empathize, to understand how much time that takes out, how draining that can be. Those simple things of working with managers to make them say, I know this isn't typical. This isn't a typical situation, but we're going to be flexible and we're going to put ourselves in that person's shoes. So it's always that, or somebody has cancer, or their family's going through something. Every single person every company I've worked at, we have said, something's not right. We need to make a phone call. We need to, this is different, right? This person's like, something's not right. So we think of the person first and we're like, are you okay? What's happening? Why is that, person kind of, what are they going through? So whether you're blue collar or white collar, that should go across the line. You should always be looking out for both. I think that's really key, is just being able to empathize and understand their hours might be a little bit different and what they're working on the line, but being able to understand they have days too, just like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's really where empathy comes into play, and that's
Yes.
also how you build the trust, and people actually, I really want to work there because they understand my situation and so on. So that's a good
And I think,
example.
yeah, another thing we really did was oftentimes we would throw out things, either prizes or ideas or things to say, we want you to come to us and tell us how to make a process more efficient. There's President's Awards, there's different types of things where we say, you know it best, you know the line best. We see numbers, we see other things coming in, but you know exactly how the process works the best. You tell us how we can improve that line, how we can make that more efficient. Anytime you do that and listening and understanding, well, they are the ones going through that every day and trying to improve that, that's been really helpful as well.
Oh, that's great. So let's jump a little bit and talk a little bit about training initiatives, because training initiatives, there is a variety. I mean, if we take in the broad piece, we have the leadership side, which goes to any of the leaders. You have the customer service side, you have the sales side, you have compliance and so on. And then, of course, you have product training, maybe you have partner training and so on. How much are you involved in that from an HR perspective? Because they are important to identify that need, and what type of programs have you been part of, or maybe are part of as such?
Yeah. I'm so excited you asked this. This is one of my favorite topics ever. Whenever we talk about training, we started off, I think it was at Trek, we started a leadership series, and it was internal. We just dealt with the resources we had, tried to throw some things together, right? Just to start the flywheel a little bit. And then it grew from there, and we would bring in the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We'd bring in some instructors, and we'd put a little money towards that. But no matter what we did, the number one thing was being allowed, leaders to allow to meet other leaders in the company, putting people together that they've never worked with or they don't get to work with often is by far the best thing you can do. And I have taken that from each place I've been at, and even here now. We introduced our first leadership series last year, and that's something that I put together. And we're sitting with them and working with them, pairing them up, and they're like, I've never met this person. This has been great. We've brainstormed on this topic, and just doing that alone has done us wonders. But in terms of leadership, it's really discovering yourself first. So we walk through a lot of self-reflection, discovering who you are before you can discover what type of leader you are. And then you tie it into the business from there. So it's really understanding that process of, I need to figure out who I am, what type of leader I want to be. Then it's how I can bring in, tough conversations, how I can develop other people. And that is, kind of what encompasses being a leader in training.
And it's interesting. We've been running a fair amount of training, especially if you have different locations, and pairing, because of course we do, for example, online leadership training, but you have the peer-to-peer coaching, and actually you can set up the group coaching also, but many times the peer-to-peer coaching, and it's a great way to, both from, if you work international, to have the cultural inclusion, but also in different offices. If you have sales leaders, they can work through it, because when they work through a topic in leadership or sales management or whatever it is, they start sharing and they start bonding, and suddenly there's a deal coming up or there's a situation coming up, and it's a great way getting that peer-to-peer handling as
Yes.
part of the training,
Yes,
and it
absolutely.
works both as you say in classrooms setups, but it actually works really well also in the online world.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. Uh, is there any, as you see, then this is a leadership approach which you have implemented, or uh, have you seen the effects out of it also in a broader sense, or is it mainly on individuals?
Yeah, I think, this is our first time here at AprilAire. I think in the
Yeah.
past with when I've worked at Trek, and we did a lot of different leadership trainings. We, maybe put a class of 25 or 30 and then you do another class of it. Just showing that investment in people and that you're excited about their personal growth. You could easily see the internal promotions and the things that would come about from that. They get exposure to people they haven't been exposed to just
Mm.
because they're in this leadership group. And then suddenly they're meeting other managers or they're meeting other department leaders. So I think anytime you can get an internal promotion and anytime you can do that, you should feel successful. Themselves,
Mm.
they should feel successful. And also, anytime you're kind of helping bring those people together. So we've definitely seen projects or different things or people get promoted, and all because of the training that we put together.
When you are looking for new manager within, could be AprilAire or previous, um, are you in the HR then involved? And also, what type of characteristics are you looking for?
Yeah.
What is important?
Yes. Positive people. I think number one is being positive. And we always talk about the ability to get stuff done, right?
Mm.
How's somebody that's trying to get stuff done? They're going after it, but definitely the key is being positive. I've never met, because you're in HR, you see a lot of different leaders or individuals even. And one of the number one things you think of is, if they call my cell phone, my mobile or my phone, do I want to pick it up? And that to me is the number one thing of saying, I really respect and want to work with that person because I'm excited to talk to them today. And there are
Mm.
people out there that you're like, I don't have the energy right now to deal with that. So,
Mm.
of course you answer the phone because that's, you're going to do
Yeah.
that. But you think to yourself, as soon as you can talk about somebody and then your leader asks you, what about so and so? You can immediately see the whole room energize and say, that person is awesome. They are super helpful, always looking to take on more, or not even take on more, just take on something new, a different project.
Mm.
Doesn't mean you have to be
Mm.
working late nights. It just means I can
They're
do that. I
willing.
have the confidence.
Yeah, they are willing, and they have a positive energy around themselves.
Yes.
So, how do you handle then, from a personal perspective, private side, getting energized, whilst it can be a tough situation at work? I mean, clearly you've been through a tough
Yeah.
times there too, but how do you balance up for your own mood and energy?
For myself, oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't
Yes.
I am a positive person to begin with, I think, but I definitely feel that might be coming from a work ethic or something you really grew up with. Um,
Yeah.
One thing I think we had talked about this at one point, but my brother passed away at an early age, and to me, it reminds me that every day I get this choice. I get the choice. Do I want to be here? Do I want to work here? Do I want to, you know, I get to choose who I want to be every day. He's no longer with us to make those choices. So why wouldn't I want to come in and be positive and be happy. And everyone has a bad day, but I certainly don't take that out on anybody at work. You're never going
Do
to
do you
get
do
far.
do you do a lot of sports, or is it the
Yeah, I'm training
kids?
for a marathon right now. I do
Oh, you
think that
do?
helps. Yes, I'm training for
Yeah.
my first ever marathon, running, exercising. You got to find something. It definitely helps to stay that positive mindset
So,
of
when is the due date for the marathon, and which one is it?
it's a Chicago Marathon, October 13th.
Oh, that's cool. So,
Yeah.
and you will make a great joy doing it. And the key, people get a little bit scared because the 42K, but
Yeah.
in reality, it's all about pace. Uh,
Yeah.
I've done a lot of running in my life, and I've tried a lot of several ways of doing it. And there's one US trainer, he said, well, let's do it like this: run for 4 or 5 minutes, walk for 1 minute, do four,
Oh,
1, 4, 1. And at a certain time, I was rather competitive. And the interesting thing is that I actually get the same time if I run. And then just walk and run and walk, because people think you have to go on all the time, but you don't. So you can actually
oh,
get your body to rest, and then you continue, because it gives you some new energy going. And those are for long
yes.
races. So soon gonna wrap up with some rapid fire questions to you. But before that, we all learn from mistakes. Is there any mistake you would like to share, and how you have sorted that out for the future?
Ooh, any
Where did
mistakes?
it where did it go wrong, and what did you learn?
Oh, I've definitely made mistakes. Which ones do I want to point out? I would say that the times that I can think of is if you are launching something that's going to affect multiple people. That could be communication, it could be a policy, right? A new policy that affects a lot of people. Any type of performance growth or talent reviews, things like this. I have learned if you don't really take the time to sit and walk through the entire process, especially a policy change, if you don't sit and take
Mhm.
the time to hear people out that have been here a long time, right, that know this company inside and out, or people that have they're not accustomed to this new change or this new theory or policy, you really are doing yourself a disservice, because they can give you insight as to what other people are going to think that are similar. I might think this is no big deal. Here's this new thing.
No.
Everybody, we're going to implement it. But other people really take some things personally, and that's okay. But you got to sit down and listen to them, because if you don't, you're going to find
Hmm.
people view it very differently than yourself. So I often
Yeah.
encourage
Uh,
people, find those people that have been here a long time and
yeah.
walk through it with them.
So that was an indirect answer, but I can hear where it went wrong. So,
Exactly.
uh,
It's a true story without the details. Yes.
so I was actually doing. I have those 1 minute videos, advices, and that was actually about this, because you normally reference from yourself,
Yeah.
and the only thing you can be rather sure of, people don't think the same. So if you're thinking one way, I'm certain we can sit and talk, and you're seeing another picture than I do. So
A hundred
I
percent. Yes.
okay, rapid fire.
Okay.
7 questions. What's your go-to book on leadership?
It's your ship.
It's your ship.
Yep.
What's the first
Okay.
thing you do to set up yourself for a successful day when the blues are up?
Um, organize my to-do list. Organize my to-do list. What do I need to do and get done?
What's the best piece of career advice you have ever received?
I would say this piece of career advice. Don't try to fix everything and save everyone.
What's one productivity tip that you swear by?
Your inbox, you should keep your inbox level, maybe not at 0, but you shouldn't have to scroll past it. Keep it minimal or you'll always feel behind.
What's your favorite way to unwind or treat yourself?
Dinner, out to dinner with friends or my husband.
How would you describe your leadership style in one word?
Flexible.
Do you have a favorite quote or mantra that you live by?
Never forget your effect on people.
Right, Heidi. Wonderful talking to you and getting you to share your experience and advice and your insights. And thank you so much for
Thank
today.
you. Thank you very much. It's been great.
Yeah, I wish you all the best moving forward.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you and see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.